So not exactly the send-off that England would have wanted in that defeat to Iceland. And you heard Jim Proudfoot talking about shots on target. Well, it ended up with just one shot on target. Credit obviously has to go to Iceland. They made it very difficult for England. They had that low block.
Yeah.
The new
defended
term.
deep.
They defended very deep. Not just with their defender, but it seemed like every player got back when needed.
Yeah.
And they really suffocated England. And it was very difficult to even go around. It was very hard. You can see that yesterday. A lot of boos at full time, Cass, and I saw the reaction on social media. A lot bemoaning it, a lot worried about the Euros now as a result. Should we really be worried following that performance?
No,
Okay.
you shouldn't. No one should be.
Okay.
There's a few reasons, okay? My main reason would be, only from a manager's perspective and listening to this conversation in a dressing room before you play, don't anyone do anything daft and get injured, right? That's the primary. Don't get injuries. Now, does that mean slightly off it with your tempo of your game? Well, you saw that. It was evident last night. England was slightly off it. You know, when Stuart Pearce was mentioning closing down's too slow, well, you know...
Doesn't surprise you.
It didn't surprise me at all. Did it surprise me England lost? Yes, of course it did. At Wembley against Iceland, of course it did. But the performance was the absolute, which I've seen numerous times, a team playing a bit below par, the tempo's not quite right. You go to a tournament. This guy, who will ever remember the game before England went, who they played, before the start of a tournament? Can you remember previous tournaments who England played in a friendly?
No, not really.
The last game before they left? Because I can't remember. I can't remember Ireland games I played in.
Yeah.
You know, I'm thinking, I'll give you one. We played in Turkey. We drew 0-0 away and it was dreadful. Dreadful game. And everyone, we got a lot of sticking on.
But like you say, it's because players don't want to overly exert themselves because they don't want to get injured.
So you can't get injured, Nat.
Of course.
You can't. How can you risk going, do you know what? I'm going to really put myself about. I'm going to make it difficult for them. I'm going to fight like for every ball.
Yeah.
You've got to be careful. Because one thing the manager would have done is have a go at you for going, you got yourself injured there, you daft so-and-so.
One thing I should quickly talk about is the defensive side of things with England. We touched on it briefly about...
Yeah.
There are problems. We said Luke Shaw obviously probably not going to be fit for the first game. I think Gareth Southgate said that. John Stones has had his problems as well. Is that the biggest problem for England defensively? And do you think it's a surprise that Jarrad Branthwaite wasn't kept on?
Yeah, I think out of all of them, he was the biggest surprise for me.
Yeah, I thought so.
I thought he would have been included. Yeah.
Centre-half to me would have made more sense.
Yeah, I was surprised. Yeah, so I'd absolutely go along with you there, Nat. There's the things that I tell you what I'll mention as well, which comes into play here, is England will get out of their group. By round 16 is Gareth Southgate's 98th game in charge. Quarterfinals is 99, and semi-finals, the 100th game, he'll be in charge.
Wow.
Now, if England get there and lose out at that stage, that will be Gareth's last game as England manager, because there's an achievement of 100 games under his tenure as England manager, which is a big milestone for him and for everybody involved around the association. Who would have imagined Gareth Southgate made 100 games as England manager going back a number of years ago, you know, from where he'd gone from the under-21s and got involved. And so I sort of think and last night's game, I just kept thinking, you know, the semi-final, if England make it, which I expect them to, that's Gareth's 100th game. So depending on how that pans out, I really believe that
be significant,
and I think his selection of his squad is really going after to win the thing, which he should be doing. And look, I've made it a little bit more complicated by what I've said there, but I do think last night's result is totally irrelevant.
On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app, and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.